It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a weekly podcast where we talk about everything that's great. Like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris.
My name is Mike.
And this week, we've got a Red Band look at Season 2 of Peacemaker. We'll have to explain what Red Band is again, probably, to people who don't know what that means.
It's funny, though, because I think traditionally it's been held with movies.
Yeah.
And now, like, the Red Band is kind of like unrated DVD. So you just get a couple extra views on the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Band.
Well, the only thing I know is you can't embed it. I had to actually click on the YouTube and be logged in to watch it. So, sorry for you kiddos at home who don't have an adult YouTube account in the house. But we'll talk about that later. The Punisher aims for Spider-Man in new set photos. They're wrapping up in Glasgow. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. Deadpool crashes Doomsday. What does that mean? And more.
Gasp. Yeah. I'm actually kind of curious what the Deadpool stuff is, because this is one of those scenarios where I come to the podcast uninformed because I saw bits and pieces of this news, and I'm like, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. I don't want to click this random link on this news website where I'm going to see 40 pop-ups. I'm going to have to accept or deny the cookies.
Doctors tell you shouldn't be eating this one fruit anymore.
Yeah, and this is like 100% like one of those situations where there's 4 paragraphs written for like one line that they include. That's the news. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna wait till Sunday and Chris will tell me.
That's right. I will tell you. We get right to the point of this. We get to the heart of it. We go off on a tangent, but we bring it back around with a segue, which is awesome. I am just gonna go ahead and get out of the way because I told Mike I was gonna watch Alien Earth this week, the first 2 episodes. I have not had a chance to. Hopefully, I can calm down a little bit. Not myself, but just life and the schedules. The schedules change all of a sudden in my world. I don't know why. And then get to it next week. So hopefully we can talk about the first 3 episodes next week. I think it's only 8 total. It's my understanding.
Yeah.
So
it's 8, which is great because when I'm on the Hulu app, which I guess will be rest in peace soon rather than later, but on the Hulu app it only shows 4 episodes like locked in. So I was like, oh, is this like a weird thing where we're only getting like 4 episodes in a season? And I was like, that better not be, because it premiered with 2 episodes, which you kind of need to set aside time for, because it really kind of gets started at the end of episode 1 and then you kind of like launch into everything episode 2. So
and I saw it was 60,
makes sense why
I saw it was like 63 minutes too. I'm like, damn, this is like the full hour. This isn't like a 45er. It's the full hour is in there.
Yeah, and if somebody out there is on the fence, if you have a Disney or Hulu streaming service that's ad supported and you really want to watch this, just upgrade, because the show is edited in a way for commercials. This isn't like a streaming show, where they just like find like a brief moment to cut and interject a commercial. Like, I can see where the beats are in the show to put commercials in. And I saw people online complaining already how like infuriating it is to watch Alien Earth with commercial breaks. So if it's maybe if you just want to wait until the whole thing's wrapped up and pay for like 1 month of like premium, no ads. But yeah, I could not handle this with the commercials.
Yeah, and it's 2 episodes. I know it's 8, and then next week we'll also have at least the first episode. I think Peacemaker's doing weekly, right? It did that before. God, if I'm wrong, it's all at once. God help us. But we'll be talking about 2 shows next week for sure. In that episode. But Mike, you got to go to the movies. Something you don't get to do very often, so you take that for granted when you're out there doing that.
Yeah, the wife requested that we go check out Freakier Friday, and it's a franchise now, I guess, and I'm familiar with it. I saw the original back in the day when I think we were probably like high schoolers, if I remember right, Chris, or at least in spitting range of that. And
before Lindsay Lohan fell off the wagon.
Yeah, but then got back on the wagon, and now she's like the it girl now. But we rewatched the original movie kind of just at home in the background to kind of prime ourselves, and we caught it like at a Friday matinee. And I was surprised how funny the movie was. Like I went in with like really, really low expectations. You know, I had that kind of nugget in the back of my mind of like, oh, I bet this was just supposed to be for Disney Plus. And then they thought, oh, maybe we can make some money out of it. So we're going to put it in theaters. And then, you know, like you just mentioned, like Lindsay Lohan's been like up and down, basically our entire familiarity with her. But it just worked. I don't know what it is. The jokes are hitting. I feel like I'm watching it at a totally different era in my life, which is kind of fun because there was a couple parents in the theater that had brought like their kids, and it kind of felt like kind of sweet seeing like, oh, now I get to share this story with my kids. They do a good job with the body swapping because now there's like 2 extra people swapped. Jamie Lee Curtis is just phenomenal in this movie. Like I never thought I would say this, but I would not be shocked if she was nominated for her performance in this. Obviously it's all goofy and it's all slapstick, but it gets like very emotional and heartwarming towards the end, you know, when everyone's kind of starting to reconcile. But yeah, Chris, I was shocked. I sent you a picture in the theater when I was there and I said, hey, don't worry, sarcastically, I'm going to be prepared for our spoiler cast on Sunday because I knew that you weren't going to be
I'm not
going
going to
out
watch
of
this.
this.
Yeah, thank you. Though.
But like as soon as it was done, I was like, I have to let Chris know this was surprisingly good. So if you have, I would say, any sort of like affection for the original movie, even if it's just a really small bit of nostalgia, I think you'll have a good time with this. And also, it was kind of weirdly reassuring to watch a movie like filmed in Los Angeles. I don't know if it was like a split production and maybe all of the interiors were, I don't know, filmed in Canada with like tax credits, but there's a lot of exterior shots and they're all authentically in LA, which I'm pretty sure the original movie was as well. And, you know, it's all about characters like the music industry and fashion industry out here. So it was just kind of nice to see some production return out here. But yeah, Chris,
Nice.
I was shocked. I was not
Good.
anticipating this at all.
Well, I mean, you know, maybe I wouldn't say it's necessarily lower expectations equal better results, but obviously, you know, I don't think. Well, maybe not. You know, it's hard to revisit something like a franchise that old. It's like kind of how I've heard like the discourse around Happy Gilmore 2, right? Like going back to something classic. You know, it's 20 years old plus, and trying to recapture that. But it sounds like you had a good time, and that's what matters.
And I have to say, there was like a bit of a jump scare where I didn't know Manny Jacinto was in this movie. He is one of the major players in the film. And if you don't know him by name, he was the bad guy in The Acolyte. He is a main character in The Good Place, and he's so charming in this movie. The whole time I was thinking, we got to get Manny Jacinto in a superhero franchise. Like, I just kept looking at him, and I was like, he would be some amazing incarnation of the Flash. I know there's a couple different people that put on that speed suit, so whatever character he fits the best with, like Manny Jacinto needs to be the Flash. And then some people online were saying he could make a good like Nightwing too. So let's get Manny Jacinto big old paycheck.
You know where I'd put him
in the DCU.
I'd put him in like a Shang-Chi as like an Iron Fist. Like I think to where I would put him is maybe like in a fighting role a little bit. Does that
would be cool?
Like you know, yeah, Nightwing sounds cool, or like maybe like maybe a Tim Drake or like a little unknown, like to bring, because I think he could bring someone unknown to life a little bit, right? With that, so because I thought it was great in like Top Gun Maverick is where I have the most memories.
Oh, I didn't know he's in that. I'm gonna have to go check that out then.
Yeah. Top Gun Maverick is good. I it's one of those things I'm sitting here, I'm like, it's hard for me to say because I don't love the first Top Gun. I don't have the affinity for it, but that second one was like, damn, this is good. I hate that it's so good.
Chris, if I have to bring Freakier Friday back around to the show, I can do it because I looked up the screenwriter for the movie, and she was a writer on the Harley Quinn TV series, which I haven't watched much, but I know people like it and it's funny. So they just did a really good job with this movie. So there you go. Yeah. Recommendation. Surprised to have it. Go check out Freakier Friday.
There you go. It seems like one of those that'll probably be on Disney Plus in like what 2 months, 3 months maybe as well. Like like a little
sure.
thing. So again, I'm a big fan of going to the theaters. I would love to go back and watch Fantastic Four in IMAX. I think I might have missed my window, but there's always an opportunity. Let's get into some news here. First and foremost, in case people had forgotten, they are doing another boys spinoff, a prequel series called Vought Rising that talks about the initial era of superheroes and brought about by the Vought Industries, featuring the return of Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy when he was younger, not the angry old man version that really didn't age, but the younger one who was around in World War II. Looking at it, like, this is a different costume than he was wearing. It's so interesting to see what the boys cast or the boys crew does with the outfits. And I don't know if you can tell on him, the little bitty green stars all over, like embedded and printed in the jacket. I'm like, oh, they're having fun with some of this stuff. Like, I really appreciate the attention to detail. Always I have in the boys, but especially all we have is costume reveal. So we're going to talk about that. For these characters. I don't love his mask, but what can you say, Mike, on this one?
Yeah, I forgot this was a thing. I think I didn't have a chance to go to Comic-Con this year. I believe they had some like billboards up for what's the one with the college age students?
Gen V season 2.
Yeah, Gen V season 2 is being promoted. I had totally forgot about this. So I'm kind of curious how they build out these spin-offs of The Boys, because I believe they just wrapped filming the final episode of The Boys, because I saw Anthony Starr had a couple photos from behind the scenes from the last day. So,
and that's why this one's starting off, because they have officially kicked off this production once the other ended. I think he's the same production crew. So once that one ended, they started right into this one after a little break.
Yeah, like I know I could probably easily look into maybe some of the wiki pages from the comic books, maybe see some storylines that have or haven't been adapted yet. But just going off the television arc of the story, this does kind of feel like a universe that would obviously still continue maybe after Homelander dies, flies into the sun, flies into space. I don't know how his character is going to end, but
they were trying
I'm sure they have a lot of stories.
Well, I'll tell you, these characters are not the ones we're going to talk about. Are not in the comic books. So like this is they never kind of did a prequel. So some of these are not in there. And we'll talk about that. But also, weren't they doing like The Boys Mexico or something like that as well? Was it like did they cancel that?
Honestly, you could probably tell me anything, and I would believe it was announced, because this is such a breakout hit for Amazon. I'm sure that they're mulling around everything.
We've talked about it before, but The Boys Mexico. Yeah, The Boys Mexico is not canceled. It was announced in 2023 with Diego Luna and Gael Bernal. I believe he was Werewolf by Night, and Diego Luna obviously from Andor. So.
I mean, if I had to reflect on these costumes specifically, they look great. I mean, the portrait studio lighting that they have on all of these characters, look amazing.
Yeah. So we'll go. The next one's Bombsight, and when I saw him, I don't know who he is. He gave me Rocketeer vibes, like immediate, worn, greased, oiled up leather. He's obviously represents the Air Force. Based on this, you can see the bombs on his thing, the airplane on his belt buckle. The next girl, who is Private Angel, is supposed to be, I assume, like a med person, like a nurse, a war nurse, if you will.
A medic or something. Yeah.
And then the last one is Torpedo, who obviously represents the Navy with his anchor and little fins on his gauntlets as well. So it looks like
I didn't even make the connection when I was looking at these earlier in the day that they were all different branches of the military. But
yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, I don't know if the origins of Vought have kind of been alluded to already in the series, and maybe I just forgot. But it makes sense that it would kind of have its start in like a military kind of direction.
Yeah. Well, and also, A.A. Cash will be returning as her character, who was the Aryan lady.
Oh, yeah. That's
so
they
do have a lot of world. I mean, they've talked about the World War II stuff, obviously with Soldier Boy and how Vought created it, and how literally none of the people who took what is it? It's not V serum, whatever it's called. Compound V has have never aged a little bit. So so it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. We saw some flashbacks. I think was it maybe Vietnam as well, where it's like what's his name, Black Noir, like where he like lost his ability to talk and stuff like that. But like they've alluded to it. But like I'm gonna be interested to see kind of how is World War II in this universe handled by these characters, right? Because we all know the thing about superpowered people in the boys universe is they're not good people. So we'll definitely see that. So, but yeah, also Amazon has confirmed the show is now in production. With the link there, that this is broke. I literally broke all my links when I was copying and pasting something earlier. But anyway, so yeah, Vought Rising coming out to be determined when we get an announcement. But we'll keep you guys posted as they are filming, and we'll probably be getting stuff. Probably not shortly after, but maybe like a year after the Boys season 5 wraps up. Shifting back into the regular DC world, Superman surprise dropped on digital last Friday. I think we reported on it last week, but a lot of people didn't know it was coming to digital, so it's out there, so you can purchase it in the VOD spaces. So if you were not able to go to the theaters, or maybe you've got a family, financially couldn't make it, now's your chance to go get some Pizza Hut pizzas and watch Superman at home with your family.
Man, Chris, I have mildly engaged in some just like Superman posts on Threads, and so now the algorithm thinks I need to see like every hot take, every opinion on the Superman universe, and the contrarians to the Superman and the DCU have never been more aligned with comic book guy from The Simpsons. It is absolutely crazy to see some of the nitpicks that the people are bringing up with this film, like just desperately trying to find inconsistencies to complain about. Like,
if we restored the Snyderverse for a second here, Mike, we wouldn't have this problem, would we? No, I'm kidding.
Exactly. Like I'm not above calling out things on movies, right? But at a certain point, you have to look at a movie as like a piece of like entertainment, where decisions that are being made like behind the camera are just trying to find the most like compelling story, and not like every like little tidbit on a desk in the Daily Planet is gonna be canon or make sense. That kind of stuff drives me crazy. Now, if like somebody goes you out of the way to show you like a computer monitor like with stuff in the background, yeah, obviously analyze that stuff because they're putting it in front of you and they kind of want you to do it. Like think like Civil War, right? When they put that that screen and you get to see like Doctor Strange's name before you get to meet him in person. Like, do your deep dive there. But
they did talk about Wakanda and stuff in like Age of Ultron. It's like, yeah, but you're right. Like, there's no need to zoom in on the pixels and pixel treatment of film at the end of the day.
It's driving me crazy, and like I shouldn't feel bad for James Gunn, because objectively the movie was a success by, I would say, any sane metric. But I hope he's not getting too in his own head, because he strikes me as a guy that might get too in his own head. And I like what he's doing, so I don't want him to get sidetracked by this crazy minority that's out there on the internet.
Well, I don't think he will. I know he does obviously engage, but I don't think he's gonna go that far. He does answer some questions, debunk some things, but I think he'll be fine. I was gonna say on the flip side, on the positive side, we now get to watch some of the coolest action scenes in HD rather than relying on cam rips on the internet.
Yeah, I have noticed that is a really funny way to know when a movie hits digital, is when you're scrolling through your feed and all of a sudden you're getting things that were never official clips in HD. Like, oh, well, the movie must be available to people now. They're already clipping it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's out there for that. I plan on maybe doing like a passive rewatch, putting it on my Superman TV, Mike, wink, wink. Maybe putting in the background and rewatching it. But it is cool that some of these things are coming out and we can watch them again pretty quick without having to wait for the theater stuff. So always a plus there. On the other side, James Gunn, he's out doing interviews. I know Peacemaker's coming out. I don't know if they did like an event for Peacemaker where he was, but they said that he is working on the Superman Saga, with the official words that he used. I don't think that's what I don't think it's gonna be Superman 2. I think it'll be a Superman Supergirl team up, maybe Brainiac film, but that he, quote, I've already completed a treatment for the next story. So it sounds like he's working on his next project already, Mike, for that. How long do you think before we see James Gunn's next DCU film? Do you think it will be after the next one after Clayface? Do you think there'll be a couple more in between? Where are you pinpointing this?
I mean, honestly, it should be full steam ahead, right? There's no strikes. There's no pandemic. The director and writer of the movie is in charge of the studio. I'm sure Zaslav is like foaming from the mouth to get his superhero universe running so he can start posting quarterly earnings for it. So I got to imagine nothing is in his way. Also, like, James Gunn is a very accomplished filmmaker with a lot under his belt. I'm sure he is very effective at getting stuff done quickly. So
yeah, no red tape when it's yourself doing it.
Maybe. I mean, do we know if there's open Warner Brothers slots for 2027? Like, I could see 2 years.
Officially, the only thing we have after the Clayface is the Batman Part 2. Is that October 27, I think, right? So that's all we really have right now. If they're looking to do, I think he said 1.2 movies a year. It could be earlier in 27. He was able to turn around Guardians 2 very quickly for Marvel.
Yeah. Also, like, are we? Did you say Batman is coming out in October?
Yeah, the Batman Part 2 is October 27, I think.
That's crazy. I don't know if I either missed that the last time we talked about it, but a blockbuster superhero movie hitting October that's not Venom, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, that fits with the Batman. For what I've seen the first one. It fits. He's a Halloween guy. He loves his mascara in rain and fall weather. But yeah, I mean, I think they need something in the summer there. I God help me if it's fucking Sergeant Rock, Mike. Like, I will flip a table if that's their tent pole for the summer. But I think they can do that. I think, right now the Supergirl's done. They're going to be spin up Clayface, get this done. If he's got treatment done, get the script done. I don't think it'll be Wonder Woman. And I don't think they'll do 2 Batman movies in the same year. So I think it'll be Superman. With all that stuff, so we'll see. But if you're a big James Gunn fan, guess what? You don't have to wait for his next project because Peacemaker season 2 is this Thursday. I believe it's Thursday at least, the 21st of August. So on HBO Max. So they released a Red Band trailer that you can watch right now. Red Band is essentially an R-rated movie trailer. For those who didn't get our reference early on, it is literally something that we would play before an R-rated movie. The red band means it's adult-oriented. Green bands means it's approved for everybody. It's interesting that they would do this online. I don't know how much the MPA controls television shows. But they have released it, and it essentially just opens up where Peacemaker looks like they're having a orgy at his house at some point with I forget his little buddy's name. Who's his little buddy's name again?
Vigilante?
Vigilante, yeah.
What is his name?
Yep. And then we also get to see a little bit more of the weird alien dude who comes out of the multidimensional doors and goes back in there. And Peacemaker, Chris Smith, he's just not happy with that guy. He thinks he's a dick. So
yeah, really funny bit. There's a brief moment where Rick Flag Sr. Says Lex Luthor's name in reference to this interdimensional tool that Peacemaker seems to have lifted or stolen, or maybe gifted. I don't know. I saw some initial reports of people that have gotten the show early because reviews are coming out positive.
First five episodes I think are out.
Yeah. But I guess one heads up is I've seen some people describing it a lot more kind of emotional and drama driven this season, where like as the first season was kind of more like a little bit more goofy slapstick, which I think was kind of one of our valid criticisms of the first season, of kind of like Gunn got a little too Gunn with it. So I'm actually kind of excited. And also I watched this trailer kind of through that lens, and I was like, oh yeah, this does seem a lot more like dramatic in a way. So yeah, really curious to see what they're going to do. We talked a lot more about like the interdimensional maybe ramifications last week, but it was kind of cool to see the portal. A little bit more in action.
Yeah, so we get to see the portal. With that, there's a couple other different versions. Looks to be Eagly is getting some like ripping people's fingers off at some point, so he's getting some action. So I expect a lot of language, violence, and blood, which is a note I have for another bullet point later with this. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of revisit it. Like I've lowered my expectations after watching the first one, but James Gunn, in his James Gunny ways, has said that this will set up the rest of the DCU. Superman really introduced people to it, and this will set it up. Did he forget Creature Commandos was there? I don't know. But I'd love to see how he ties his Suicide Squad into this world. How are they gonna do season 1 of Peacemaker into this? Like I said, I've read what they did before it came out, and it sounds like it was true, so it's not gonna be a huge deal. But really, interested to see come back to this really dysfunctional team, right? That exists out here, and kind of see what they're doing in the quote unquote superhero world. I also love is it Tim Meadows is in this as like the one of the guys. I love Tim Meadows and everything he does. So I'm excited to see. I'm happy to see him in there and see kind of what humor he brings to this role throughout. So check that out. Actually, did you look up if it's Peacemaker season 2 release schedule? Did you look that up while I was doing this? Because I am gonna do it right now.
I did not.
It's fine.
I think the first season was week by week. I think the real question is do we premiere with 2 episodes or do we premiere with just 1 episode?
Just 1. It's 8 episodes and it is weekly through October 9th. And James Gunn directed 3 of the episodes. So we'll see who directs the other ones. There's TBA on 2 of them who they haven't announced a director, so maybe it's a surprise as well. So we'll keep you guys. We'll talk a little bit about it next week on that first episode. Back over to the Marvel Universe. Thunderbolts, aka the new Avengers, will arrive on Disney Plus on August 27th, which a little longer than I thought it would be. If I'm going to be honest, I just got my Steelbook a couple weeks ago, but I'm excited for everyone else to get to watch this with their already subscribed accounts. Disney Plus / Hulu, but Hulu's going away, so be prepared to not use that word ever again, I guess, or it's always in the Disney Plus app. But I'm excited to revisit this, Mike. Obviously, one of my favorite characters. The Sentry debuts in it. It's got his scenes. I have seen high quality clips of his action scenes. I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago when it came to digital. I'm like, yep. We're getting closer to that streaming release date. I'd love to see. I always love the IMAX versions. I know that's like something regular people probably don't go to, but I love getting that IMAX enhanced version that I can just watch on my theater at home.
Yeah, it's funny. If the official digital release brings high quality clips to social media, the free streaming release of a movie brings the worst takes to social media, because that's where the people who are never super interested enough to go see it in theaters can finally watch it for free, essentially. I know it's not, but free, essentially, just really paying for their time to watch it. And that's when you get a lot of people who are just like, oh, this is cringy, no wonder it didn't make any money. Or the worst thing I hate the most, I hate this just in general, when somebody finds something that they like on the internet and then they yell into the void of like, how come none of y'all ever told me about this? This is so good. I'm so mad at you. And it's just like, first of all, it's not our responsibility, and also I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
So,
well, we did tell you. Everybody knew about it.
Yes, me and Chris specifically told you months ago.
Yeah, and I think they do sometimes throw those extra things on there on Disney Plus. I'm excited to see the timeline, because we know there's like 14-month jump at the end of this movie as well. In the post-credit scene, Fantastic Four will be next in the fall / winter region to come out. So I'm excited to see that. It's like the little things that kind of add up when you get things on the Disney Plus thing, where it's like, hey, we're gonna let you know all the little details that nobody else cares about, Mike, but me. At the end of the day, and that's fine. You said something else. I forget what it was. I don't remember. If I think of it, I'll come back to it. It was something about just being able to stream it on there. Or when I accidentally come across people like sharing entire episodes of TV shows on like YouTube Shorts, but in like cuts. Like I can't wait till I see 3-minute segments of Thunderbolts on YouTube Shorts.
Mirrored, because it's going to be mirrored. There's going to be a fake lens flare on it, and then if it appears on TikTok, there's going to be like just this weird black stroke down the middle of it and across all of these weird ways that they try to avoid detection by a software.
Yeah, and like a little VHS effect every once in a while too, to give that ripple. Like it's just like so. Yes, that's coming out August 27th. That is 10 days away. So check that out at the end of the month if you haven't seen it yet. Another thing coming to Disney Plus earlier than expected is Marvel Zombies. They've moved it up from October 3rd to September 24th. Not a huge shift, but enough that they wanted to announce it. So Marvel Zombies is a 4-episode continuation of the What If episode from I think season 1. This show will be rated TVMA for language, violence, and blood. I think less language than we're anticipating, but probably 1 or 2 things.
It's probably more of like a signal for maybe don't show this to your kiddos that are a little bit younger.
Yeah, I think Daredevil Born Again was also TVMA, and like it really only got gruesome at the end, right? But like, I'm. This is something like they talked about. They're like, do we release it as a movie on there? Is it like a short, short like anthology thing, kind of like Predator, Killer Killers? Like, what's it like? 4 episodes, tiny 20-minute episodes. It's kind of like watching a movie anyway. So, as long as it's good or at least entertaining and not as predictable as like maybe the episode was, I think it'll be entertaining. I have heard that Scarlet Witch, who was teased at the end of the first episode, is like the main villain zombie for this little spinoff here. I like the Marvel Zombies comic books, the original ones. And a fun fact, the Sentry caused all that, by the way, back then in the Marvel Zombies comic books. So if you ever wanted to know a little detail about that, but I enjoy this book. I don't think this will be the same thing, but it'll be great to get this done. I think this might be the last What If animated adventure, even though it's not What If, it's a spinoff of the What If. I think this is the last one.
This could be also I guess Spider-Man freshman year, I believe we've been guaranteed a second season already. I think that is so far the only continuation we know of this kind of like animation experiment over on the TV side. I didn't realize this. I know we talked about what is it? What's it called? Not Wakanda Forever.
Eyes of Wakanda.
Eyes of Wakanda. I didn't realize this when I watched it, but I guess in one of the episodes, Up in the Sky, there's like a very subtle image of the Watcher's face.
Yeah.
Watching these tales unfold, and I never caught that. And is the Watcher also subtly featured in freshman year? I thought he was.
I don't. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is what it's called, by the way, in case people are confused. But it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's easier. It's less to say. I don't remember. I just remember he was very actively visible in that X-Men 97 episode, the Genosha episode as well. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, maybe. And I totally forgot about X-Men too.
Yeah.
That being said, I only bring this up to be when you watch Marvel Zombies, look out into the sky, see if you can see the Watcher somewhere.
Oh, yep. He is in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So you can check that out. I do think that's getting a second season. X-Men 97 is getting the second season. Bo DeMeo, who was fired from X-Men 97, is still on his anti-Marvel rant on there. Mm-hmm. So if you want to see some of the worst parts of the internet, go find him. And then avoid it. Marvel Zombies, I think is the last part. There's one more. Is there one more animated show, or is this it? From that What If. I think the What If era is done. I think other than the ones we just announced, I don't think there's a new animated one coming out anytime soon.
Yeah, I guess your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man that has like a specific new art style. X-Men 97 is continuation of something older.
Yeah, Eyes of Wakanda was a little 4-episode mini arc, and it had a different animation style. But I think we're fine. I think this will be it. I'm excited to see what it is. And I think we get Wonder Man at the end of the year is what I'm thinking of in December, which is live action. on Disney Plus, we got some live action stuff, and Charlie Cox accidentally referred to the filming of season 2 as the final season. He himself has come forward and like, yeah, I didn't. He's like the final, like when he said final season, it's like the one we just filmed. Even Vincent D'Onofrio came out and was like, yeah, he didn't mean the last season. He's like the one he was just filming, like because they're done with season 2 filming right now. So for people who might have seen those headlines, this is more of a clarification. I think we're gonna at least get 3 out of this, Mike, if not more. Probably 3.
I feel like every time Vincent D'Onofrio talks about Daredevil, I feel like I'm hearing from like a politician, and I don't know if it's
because he's the mayor of New York,
kind of like telling a politician, but I always feel like he's trying to vie his way back into. I guess not back, but into the cinematic universe. Like, it seems like he's just like, call me up, Kevin. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm playing ball. I'm making sure things are running smoothly over here on Disney Plus. Just put me on the big screen, my guy.
Well, I mean, obviously, we always talk about this when people are like doing fan casts and the actors like, yeah, hire me for that. It usually means that they're not going to be hired for that, right? It's like they're doing like a little self-promotion. They'll never really... Yeah, very rarely has that worked. I think the one time we've seen it work is like when what's his name? Jason Momoa willed himself into being Lobo simply because he was playing ball. But like, yeah, I think was recently was Vincent D'Onofrio was like, yes, the Kingpin and Spider-Man should face off, and we're like, yeah, we know, like we know you want a job. You get paid per gig in the world. You probably want that. What's it called? A scale. Does he get scale pay because he's been doing
I don't know.
so much?
In my opinion, if you put Spider-Man and Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin up against each other and expect me to believe it's going to be an even fight, you are fooled. You're not going to fool me. Like, Spider-Man is clearly superhuman in the MCU, and if he wanted to defeat the Kingpin, it would be extraordinarily easy. It would probably go like this. You would shoot a couple webs at him, just thinking he's a normal, like, man, and then, Vincent D'Onofrio, like, probably with a little bit of effort would be able to break out of the webbing. And then, Tom Holland's Peter Parker would be like, oh, wow, that's actually pretty impressive. He is stronger than just, like, the average, like, what is he, like 60-year-old man? Mm-hmm. And then he would just like freaking kick him into oblivion, and then Kingpin would be down. Like, there's no incarnation of this Kingpin that we've seen that could handle to borrow a phrase from the DCU. This Vincent D'Onofrio could not go toe to toe with like a meta human.
Right, but the problem is that's short-sighted view. I think Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin has enough to play. Like, he plans it out, and like he's not just 1v1ing him. He's like, I have an army of people. You got to fight through stuff. Like, okay. I think that's what he's going to do.
Like if we're talking about like a Batman Superman scenario where Kingpin has nothing but time to prepare and strategize, now you're convinced. But like, I'm imagining like the comic book splash screen where you take a man the size of a hippopotamus standing on his hind legs in a white suit, and then like throwing Spider-Man by the neck out a window.
Well, but like we have the level of Daredevil and him fight from season 3, right? Like, we know he's not that strong. Like, we know Daredevil took him down, right? A blind guy fighting. It's like, I don't think it's gonna be 1-on-1, but I think this Kingpin is enough of a planner and enough of a worst case scenario guy that if he knew he was going after Spider-Man or pissing him off, he would have enough things in place before he got to him at the end of the day.
What would be interesting, and it maybe doesn't quite work so much because I hate Falcon and the Winter Soldier so much, because they made the super soldier serum seem so achievable, just out there in the world. Like, they just had vials and vials and vials of it, which it never should have been like that.
It's like Kool-Aid.
So accessible. But it would have been really, really cool if you take somebody like Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, who has done all this strategizing. He's starting to see all of these superpowered people crop up around the world and realize that it doesn't matter how much money he has, how much pain he inflicts on a city, he's losing his edge. Mm-hmm. And then he goes out of his way and moves heaven and earth to make things work in such a way.
So it's the Green Goblin from Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, so he can get like one smidgen of that superhero serum. And then I would believe he's like super powered. I
view the Kingpin more as Lex Luthor from Superman this year than anything else. where he
That's
studies documents, has a team convinced, and he's like, I'm up in my tower, safe from everything else. I'm gonna hire a bunch of other like ground level vigilantes that I don't support to take you out. Like I can see him bankrolling. He's bankrolling Scorpion and all the other people in the upcoming movie.
Yeah, I like that. That idea makes sense, but I will never believe Vincent D'Onofrio could punch Spider-Man.
The worst part about all, I agree with you, absolutely. I don't think so as well. Especially with everything we see. I think the worst part about this is that they have split Marvel Television from Marvel movies. Like very like it's not the same New York. They're not going to deal with the Void and the Sentry and the Watchtower. They're not going to have any of that the next season. They're just going to be like, oh, this is regular New York on a regular Sunday outside your window, which is fine. But I wish it was a little bit more. I would love to see, a Kingpin tower. Like it doesn't have to be Avengers Tower. It could be a smaller one that's not as like the biggest tower in New York. But like, yeah, he's bought another one downtown, and he's like, he's suited it up kind of like how he did in the video game, the Spider-Man video game, right? Like that first level where you have to go through there. Because I love that. Well, that's a great level of that video game, by the way. Like I want that. I want that in the movie.
Yeah, and it really makes you wonder. Since the Punisher is 100% going to be in the Spider-Man movie, and he's coming right off of his exploits in Daredevil. Like, okay, I could see Daredevil like not making any mention to the bigger movies, right? But it is going to kind of seem odd if there's not even a single line spoken in the next Spider-Man movie that takes place in New York that is currently going on and on and on about mass vigilantes. Like he's like the mass vigilante of New York Spider-Man. Yeah. So I feel like something has to be said. Something has to affect his story in some way.
Well, we can hope. I don't know if it will. But we did get Charlie Cox as his lawyer in the last movie. So like we have a lot of threads that could make this work. It just depends on, will the TV show take, now that it's going to be on a yearly schedule, take those reins and actually do something about it, right? And bring it together. Because I would love that little. I mean, it doesn't have to be straight fluidity, but like, boy, just a little something would be great. Because we don't have a lot. Pretty sure Wonder Man is going to be in California. Ironheart that's like, I guess, upstate New York,
Chicago, if I recall correctly.
Oh yeah,
Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. Like it's like not anywhere near this. Like there's a lot of opportunity to have all these shows exist in there without like direct references. So I don't know, man. We can hope, but I think Vincent, even if it's like the opening scene of Spider-Man is him taking on the Kingpin in his tower, like going through all like his goons and technology, his machine guns to get to him, and he doesn't have to fight him. Like he ends up webbing up and leaving him. Like that would be a fun little scene, right, in Spider-Man to open the movie with, to show that Spider-Man's actually in New York proper, and he got the Kingpin, but the Kingpin's out the next day because he's like the mayor. He bought somebody, he owns a police force or something. That's a way to meet everybody's needs without him maybe necessarily being a whole villain for the whole movie, right? Because Spider-Man needs, I guess a little bit bigger problems than some dude with a bunch of money at the end of the day. But you know what? We're already talking about Spider-Man. Let's get into this next thing. We've got a set photo. They've wrapped filming up in Glasgow, but one of the photos, we're just going to jump into it, is John Bernthal in his Punisher battle van with a gun pointing right at Spider-Man on the hood of this thing. Number one, I want to go ahead and say all these photos that have come out of this, like these set photos the past 2 weeks in Glasgow, Spider-Man looks amazing. Looks great in every one of those photos. Like they all look like comic book covers. So whatever they've done, they've set it up to where it's like even like people's pictures off the street look great. So absolutely awesome move on their behalf. The fact Punisher has his battle van, that's got me excited even more, Mike, that he is actually out here driving around prepared rather than just walking around corners or show up in buildings like he kind of did in Daredevil.
The funniest part is imagining any character from like a superhero universe with an accompanying vehicle is always interesting to me, because I'm always imagining the toy that comes out with the movie. And I just have like a lot of memories of getting action figures that like either the knees don't bend or they're way too big for the vehicle that they're supposed to come with. So you're like trying to put them like in the car. They have to make the roof removable so you can get them in there, because like getting them through the door like makes no sense for an action figure. but I feel like there's a lot of like iconic toy vehicles for like superheroes. Like I'm thinking like the pizza van from Teenage
Spider
Mutant Ninja
Buggy.
Turtles. So yeah, so like the Spider-Man Brand New Day toy line is gonna have a crazier souped up Punisher paddy wagon that'll have like probably like a machine gun mounted to the top, even though that probably
The door
won't be
will
seen in the movie
open.
at all.
The door will open and
Yes.
something pops out, like a sidecar or something like those Jurassic Park toys used to have.
Exactly.
I think it's cool. Like it is a dingy van. It's rusted. It's not taken care of. He's got the bars welded on the windows on the other side. I would almost guess I would think the glass at the front's bulletproof, because knowing the Punisher and how prepared he is.
Well, I saw another view of this van earlier in the week, and the front windshield has like a sliding component to it.
Oh, really?
So it's
Okay.
it's like Frank installed like a drive-through window in the front of the windshield, so he can like open it up and point a gun out of it. It's like extremely tactical. It's very
Oh yeah, I like, there's obviously he's got these tubes taped down to the front. He's got those big bright lights. I want to see this scene. Like this scene they've been filming between the tank, the battle van, Spider-Man jumping around in his suit with this little his big clunky web shooters that he's built at home. This movie has me pretty hyped for next year. Again, and we still know very little about it. I will say the next bullet point we kind of skipped over is that Mark Ruffalo is rumored to have a substantial role in the film. So not a cameo as a Hulk, but like a bigger role as Bruce Banner, probably a Savage Hulk, is what everyone's pointing towards. Like that's pretty cool. Like this is like hitting all the right check boxes for me to be like, yeah, this is feels like a comic book you pick up off the shelf.
Yeah, I'm curious how we get the Hulk to go savage, right? Like somebody kind of has to get in the way, has been doing like the original Baron Zemo before he started dancing at the club for 12 hours on a loop on YouTube, right? The Baron Zemo that architected the whole Civil War. We need like somebody like that to come in here to find a way to slip into Banner's life and somehow roofie him, right? To get him to go savage. I'm curious what that's going to be. Or if we truly think that this is like a soft launch of possibly like a battle world, maybe this could be an additional Hulk from another universe. We could be in that.
I don't think we're gonna get a multiverse.
Maybe we'll see two Hulks on the screen. I don't know.
I don't think we're gonna multiverse, but I do think there's like the Punisher's here. He's an angry guy. The Hulk's gonna be there. He's probably an angry. He can be an angry guy. We know we're getting the Scorpion. Sadie Sink is in this movie as some role. We don't know who she is yet. We've heard the return of obviously Zendaya as MJ and Ned. It's not Ned. What's his name? Is his name Ned in the movie? Jacob Battle. Jacob Battle. Yeah. It's Ned. We want to say Genki. His name is Ned. We're thinking Spider-Verse. So like they have some stuff coming back. They have this. I don't know. Like I've got a lot of questions. I think Sony's marketing is a whole different beast. I assume, I don't know if they have anything coming up this year. Sony Pictures Movies 2025. I'm gonna look it up real fast, see if he's got anything else. Been Caught Stealing, that already, I think is already out, right? But like I'm trying to figure out like what movies are coming out that they could release this with, like a trailer. Like
I mean, there's no more. There's like no Morbin time. I'm sure they're fast tracking a sequel to K-pop Demon Hunters, but that would probably just go to Netflix.
So all I see is Caught Stealing. That's August. They won't have a trailer. They have Anaconda, the reboot with Jack Black and Paul Rudd, and this on Christmas, and then that's really about it. And then the other thing I can think of is January 16th is 28 years later, the Bone Temple, which is the third one. So they don't have a lot coming out. So I mean, we'll know when we get to see our first look. But I want to know what Mark Ruffalo's announced for this. I want to know who else is going to be in here, what the story, at least a log line. That'd be great to get something. But I'm very excited for this movie to come out next year because it is our last. Regular Marvel movie before we get back into the next two Avengers films. So excited for that. Speaking of Avengers films, the rumor. Remember how we talked about they were doing code names on the call sheet like a couple months ago, like when they started filming, and like there was like, oh, here's Iron Fist and Luke Cage. Well, one of the rumors, which I don't think this is true, but I wanted to run it by you because I need one of your crazy conspiracy theories, Mike, and I know you have plenty of these.
I'm ready.
Is that the Luke Cage code name was for Chris Evans, Steve Rogers on set? Like, I have no way to prove this. No one else has any way to prove this. But why would they film him first if he's not announced for the movie? Like, I guess, like, why would this be the rumor that like this sets for Luke Cage, but it was Chris Evans?
Okay, so if I'm decoding this correctly, if I'm trying to get into the Russo brothers' head, they are saying, okay, Chris Evans is coming to set today to film. Obviously, we cannot use the word Chris or Evans anywhere in a 30-mile radius, so we're going to use Luke Cage.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
okay.
And that there was a set, like a house built, like not like in a regular set, like an outside house that was built. It's like remember that guy broke into the studio lot and was doing like that the video. So there was like a house in there, and it's just a generic yellow looking house. And that's like the set was like also for Luke Cage, kind of like Luke Cage's house.
Well,
so yes,
I mean, I would say if you wanted to be a conspiracy theorist, it's actually not so much of a stretch here to imagine it, right? We already know like the Russo brothers would easily do stuff like this, right? They know what it's like to film these like gigantic secret movies. They are trying to adapt to now a new world where drones existed when they made Infinity War and Endgame, but now like everybody has them, and they all know it's all happening in outside of like London too. So they're just like swarming it. So they're adapting. So I could easily see them using Luke Cage, and that's like that's also like an interesting kind of bait and switch, right? They're probably hoping people will take the bait of Luke Cage of like, oh wow, Luke Cage is going to be in Doomsday, you know. So they probably hoping for
the
that,
regular
like,
people
that like smoke screen, you know, to be deployed when people catch that. I mean, I guess obviously if we're in a multiversal scenario, every actor could theoretically return. I mean, we thought Robert Downey Jr. he was like the sacred sacrificial, you know, element.
He who should not be touched.
And we would never see him again. And then they brought him back in as another character. So now it's almost like, well, there's no reason we couldn't see Chris Evans again.
Who came back for Deadpool?
Saw him again.
Yeah,
exactly. So he could come back, and he has existed now canonly all through time, because since he was frozen for the majority of kind of like modern time in an iceberg, well, now that he went back in time and he was just chilling with Peggy, now there has always been like a Captain America, Chris Evans, you know, just boots on the ground, I guess. So if there's any sort of time travel element in this movie, you could come across as Steve Rogers. There's a multiversal element you could come across as Steve Rogers. I don't know.
I've heard one rumor, and I was going to see if maybe you hit it or not. But it was that because we can't think about the TVA and Loki too hard without, you know, throwing everything that we consider factual into the loop. But like that, the fact that Steve Rogers went out, returned all the stones to time, and pruned all those realities, right, by fixing them, bringing them back, but that he stayed back with Peggy and grew old is causing the incursion somehow, is like because he's not supposed to be there in two places at once, like existing twice in the same universe, if that makes sense.
I mean, what you're saying does make sense, and it kind of follows the rules that they set up in Loki season 1 and season 2, which amazing show. If they want to focus the entirety of these next two movies around the lore that they created with the TVA, I'm totally fine with it. The unfortunate downside of that is it's just like Captain America had such an amazing ending in that movie. Like he got his fairy tale ending. He got to be with his girl. You know, he was out of time and out of place for so long. And, you know, he was trying his best to fit in modern times, but he really didn't want to be there. He wanted to go back, and he finally had the ability to, which he probably thought would never happen. Like, he's like, oh, I can see aliens. Like, I can see aliens, but I'm never going to be able to go back and see Peggy. So I don't want that undone.
But they've already undone Robert Downey Jr.'s death. So it's like, well, if we're going to undo one, let's undo both. Not necessarily that they'll touch it or actually do anything with it. But like that's the rumor I read. It's like maybe him existing twice in one universe is the core root of the problem.
So this is one thing. This is one thing that I would allow, and I think would be a sweet and kind of on like a cameo level, right? There is a character that is really, really struggling, and maybe it's Sam Wilson, right? Because I think you and I would both agree he has not quite reached the level of Steve Rogers, Captain America, of leading a team in what we've seen him on the big or small screen.
Yeah.
So maybe Sam Wilson is really struggling in Doomsday, or he's really struggling in Secret Wars, and he needs some advice. He needs to be rallied. He needs to be pointed in the right direction. He somehow has the ability through like magic or the TV or whatever to go ask Steve and go check in on him. So like we cut to like, you know, Steve and like Peggy and their like quaint little house, like sitting down to eat dinner. There's a knock on the door and it's like Sam
on your list.
Like that could be interesting. That would be sweet. You know, you don't need to pull Steve back into war.
Yeah, I don't think he was actually going to be part of necessarily the first movie yet, because like obviously they've kind of got a lot of that core down. But like knowing that, I wouldn't even say the TVA, but like knowing that Loki is behind the time tree now, right? The Yggdrasil time thing, and that history that he has also with Loki. That like Loki is the reason that his timeline wasn't pruned again, right? That he wasn't removed. That he's the one's like, yeah, Cap, you deserve it because of everything you did do along the way as well. So I think if they could tie that in, that Loki is the one who's like, I've protected him, I'm the one who's kept him that way, because of everything he did, I think would be another way to do that without losing the emotional impact overall. So anyway, that's not even the biggest news for Doomsday. That's just a rumor. The biggest news is that Ryan Reynolds has shared a social post with the Avengers A with a red anarchy symbol drawn across it. And THR has reported that Ryan Reynolds will show up in Avengers Doomsday. However, he will not be part of the Avengers, which makes me think he could be part of the X-Men universe, right? He has been known to be part of the X-Men in the universe. Or he's got his own little separate team battling across the multiverse, because this last movie was essentially him protecting the multiverse. And he has experience doing that. So I could take either one. I don't care. I think he needs to show up because of the last movie he was in. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it makes total, like, you don't build up like a franchise like Deadpool, this cash cow, and you don't put him one of these two Avengers movies coming up. So this makes total sense. I think what you really have to do is thread the needle and go, oh, how does this character exist in a like normal movie, right? I don't want to see Deadpool breaking the fourth wall, but I want to see him trying and people around him going like, what is he doing? Like, right, he's not going to turn and look straight at the camera.
I think
he's going to turn and he's going to look off into space, and there's going to be another character that looks at him and go, who is he talking to?
I think it'll be both. I think it'll be both. I think it'll be like a little, because he's not the main character. We can't have too much Deadpool, right? Like his movies, I get it. Like they'll have to like temper it down a little bit. But I do think it'll be one of those situations where he does do a nod, wink at the camera, and say something about like, oh, you know, this is the Chris Evans. I was like, you know, this isn't, you know, is it the Human Torch or whatever? And then we'll maybe have the real Human Torch. It doesn't matter, whatever it's going to be. But then at the same time, the next scene will be like, who the hell is this guy talking to? Right?
Or
kind of thing.
what? I don't think we've had any She-Hulk confirmations, but there could be some fun with him with She-Hulk, who, you know, break the fourth wall. I would love to see like a funny moment where maybe he turns, you know, looks at the camera, like I said, talks to himself, and then we like the camera moves and we see, oh, he's actually looking into a mirror and just talking to himself. I just feel like you kind of have to preserve this reality that we're in for these movies. But I think, he's going to be in it, and it's going to be great because he's going to take the piss out of everything. Yeah,
but I don't think, like I said, I don't think he's a main team character. He'll be in it briefly. Maybe a tease into the next one. Maybe he'll like, walked into the wrong universe and like leave right away kind of thing. Like it will be something that's funny, but doesn't take away the levity of this movie, right?
And it won't be too vulgar. It'll be something silly. Like he pops in through a TVA portal, and he's going to see like a bunch of people like fighting, like a big monster snarling, and he's going to say something like, oh, this isn't Build-A-Bear. And then he's going to like go back in and we won't see him again.
Or he'll show up with the team that was in Wolverine and Deadpool, and they'll be like, no, we're all right. We're good. Like his little Blade and Wolverines and stuff like that. I do think, he might, what we know, we've heard rumors that Wolverine is be a big part of the next movie, but we don't know what Secret Wars is until they're done with Doomsday. So we'll kind of keep that posted. But not a surprise. Fun little reveals until they probably do that second announcement, casting announcement later on. Last bit of news related, is that the X-Men universe, or X-Men reboot, is casting is underway over at Marvel, which is, I don't think anyone was really concerned about, right? Like that makes sense. Like I feel like, yes, we know they're casting and writing this movie all at the same time,
and I guarantee it will be budget friendly.
Yeah, we talked about that. Like it's not going to be the $1 billion movie. Is over until at least 2030 is the rumors. Spider-Man might prove that wrong, but Spider-Man is an anomaly to the situation, not the standard. But X-Men will definitely be, like you said, cheap and on scale pay. So continue.
Yeah, I saw somebody online that was like pitching like, oh, we should have like Ewan McGregor and bring back like and Henry Cavill like in like these X-Men things, and it's like they're way too expensive. They're not going to age with the characters. You gotta start.
Yeah, the only two you can have, like I said, be famous people are probably Xavier, Magneto, and whoever the villain's going to be. The regular X-Men cast cannot be established actors that are 35 plus. Wolverine's different. He doesn't age. They could make that work, but everybody else has to be like literally like almost out of high school, young college age people in this universe. I am excited to see some of the mixes of powers. We've heard rumors it'll be X-Men 97 crew, kind of similar to that team up. I would love to see how they bring Jubilee into the MCU, right? We've kind of had that teased before, but we're still 3 years minimum away from X-Men hitting the MCU. So if they do any casting announcements, might be later this year. They might start production right after or consecutively, or was it concurrently with Secret Wars if they end up using the same team or same actors. But I don't think you introduce actors in Secret Wars and then continue a quote unquote rebooted universe afterwards. So yeah, I'm excited. We got a lot of good things to look forward to coming up in the future. Mike, that is the show for today. Unless you have anything else you want to bring to the table.
No, we did it. Another week in the can, Chris.
Another week in the can. We are on the back. I can't believe we're midway through August. We're at the end of this year. We're going to be in the holidays before we know it. I'm excited for some fall weather here in the Midwest. A little hot this week. I love some leaves falling, some cool weather. But if people want to know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at?
Yeah, you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com or liferewardsrisk.com. Chris, where can people catch up with you?
On Instagram, Valdan87, VALDAN, or Video Game Systems with the same name. I've been playing Battlefield 6. The beta was last weekend and this weekend. I've been having a good time with that. But, it's going to end, and then we'll have to actually buy the real game in like a couple months. That's disappointing. But, oh well, what can you do? If people want to know more about the show, where they come see the show notes with these links or anything else, we've left some reviews. Where can they get all them goodies at?
Yes, head on over to superheroslate.com. You can get our awesome show notes that Chris works diligently on every year, our upcoming release calendar if you want to see what is on our agenda coming up these next couple of years. We love hearing from you. We love it when you reach out. Let us know what you're watching, what you're listening to. If you want to get some merch, you can get it at superheroslate.com/store. And we love our super fans. If you want to be a super fan, all you have to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every week, folks.
That's right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.